On today's Pack to Hack, we're going to talk about the miscellaneous things that you might forget to pack for a hackathon. These things aren't typically absolutely necessary things, but they can definitely make your trip much more enjoyable. Miscellaneous things also tend to be the things you might forget and then realize, oh no, I really needed that thing. So this is a wide category of random things that you might actually forget. We're at the 3-day countdown to getting on the startup bus from New York City and going to New Orleans. So we're almost there. So these are the last things that I'll be putting into my bag to prepare for the trip. As always, if you have additional items that you think belong on this miscellaneous list, please feel free to follow along in chat or comment, and I'll add to the list overall to give suggestions of what you might bring. So the first thing from a miscellaneous perspective is playlists. So we all have our favorite playlists on Spotify or Amazon or Apple. Have those ready to come with you to bring some music or some beats while you're working on different things on the bus or out in public. Another really cool thing you might be able to do with music is bring a playlist that's open for anyone to contribute to, so that your fellow hackers on the bus can actually create a playlist all together, so that we could have the New York playlist and Silicon Valley could have their own playlist, for example. Next, if you're a musical person, you might want to bring along your favorite musical instrument. And you might be saying, oh, well, you told me the other day to pack light and make sure you can bring everything with you. Yes, I'm not asking you to bring your grand piano along with you. But if you're the play the guitar around the campfire sort of person, a guitar might be a really fun addition to the startup bus, because then we can actually sing, write jingles, and even play in the public with the guitar. So that can be a nice, fun add. Next, this is more the must bring with you type of thing, and that's toiletries. So you're going to want your toothbrush or toothpaste, and in our case, any creams, shampoos, etc., because we will have shower facilities on the startup bus experience. On some hackathons, they might actually provide toothbrushes and toothpaste and even tampons if you have forgotten those things at home. But for this type of experience, you're definitely going to want to plan ahead and bring all those sorts of things with you and nav off your fellow hackers if you end up forgetting something. Next, hand sanitizer. So the funny joke about Startup Bus when I first signed up was there wasn't a ton of information about what the trip was going to be, and that I expected. But when I couldn't figure out where the bus was leaving from, I looked at the frequently asked questions, and there was this much information on bathroom facilities on the bus and not on the bus, and when you should go where. And so hand sanitizer is going to be one of those things that you don't exactly know what the bathroom situation is going to be, and you're going to want a way to clean up. You're also not going to know, are you going to be out working with people in public a lot and be in more contact and not have a restroom nearby to wash your hands? You don't know. So having that along for the ride will make it much easier. Next, any medication you normally take. So it might not be top of mind when you're going to a hackathon, oh, I should bring my medicine along with me. You are going to need that. For our startup bus experience, it's several days that we're going to be away from home. You're going to want to make sure that's in your bag. The really different thing about the startup bus experience is we're going to be working on the road for long periods of time. And for someone like me who hasn't done the working on the bus before for a long time, I don't know how I'm going to react from a motion perspective, and probably many other people are in the same boat. So Startup Bus actually recommended to all of us bring along Dramamine or some kind of motion sickness medicine. If you find out you're that person that after like an hour of working on the bus, you're super sick to your stomach, you don't want to go another several hours before you can work on your hack. So you're going to want to bring that along with you. Having any headache medication with you will help with if you end up getting a headache along on the road. You don't want to be hitting your head against the wall or just in pain the entire time. That doesn't sound like a super fun hackathon. So having that along with you can help to get rid of the pain from a headache. Next, Startup Bus recommended a water bottle, and I would echo that sentiment. We don't want to be generating a lot of extra trash along our trip, and an easy way to reuse something is to bring along a water bottle and keep filling it with water wherever we may stop along the way. It will also be a great way to ensure that we as hackers stay hydrated. I talked about yesterday that I tend to forget about needing to eat. Same thing goes with needing to drink. If I keep the water bottle right there, I'll know, okay, keep drinking water along the trip. Next, a blanket. So why would you bring a blanket? Yesterday I mentioned that I tend to get really cold in air-conditioned environments, and so I don't know what it's going to be like on the bus. So I'm not going to bring the huge blanket that I might have on my couch or might have for cats or anything like that. I'm going to bring a small blanket that folds up into a little package, and that way if it is cold and I need a little extra to warm up, I can just throw that on. Also, if the seats aren't comfortable or I need to take a brief nap on the bus, I'll have that blanket available for any extra padding or getting more comfortable. Next, any cards or small games. So you might say, oh, I just want to hack the entire time. I'm not going to have any downtime at all. It won't be that much fun necessarily. So you're gonna want a few minutes where you can just clear your head, and cards are a way to do that, and a common road trip tool, and just be a little relaxed for a little while. It can also help out with, hey, we don't really know each other very well. We can just laugh and take a little break and then get back to what we're working on. One of the most fun side events I ever had at a hackathon was live music and beers in the middle of the night, and then we took a brief break for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then went back to our project. So anything along the way of card game that could bring that little break to you and then go back to what you're working on could really benefit your team in the long run. We're going to be on a bus the entire time, and I know that there's these little tables in between where we might sitting, as it seems from past pictures. If we want to keep anything on those tables from sliding off and really falling into our neighbors on the bus, we're going to want to have one of our pouches that might be holding pens or something like that be able to also double as a way to hold things on the table. So what might we hold on the table? Pens, pencils, sticky notes, anything that might have a tendency to want to fly across the bus if it suddenly stops or maneuvers in a way that we're not expecting. The last considerations are more, how are you eventually getting home? So in any multimodal transportation environment, you might go out on a train and then go on a leg on a bus. And the train might allow you a very large amount of luggage, but when you get on the bus, you're only allowed a very small amount of luggage. In the case for the startup bus, we'll be riding a bus cross country that we can bring 2 bags on, small bags, but we might throw in extra things that we're not thinking, oh, we eventually need to get on the plane home. So most of us will be flying back home to New York after our trip, so we're not going to be able to take anything with us that won't be able to go on the plane home. So this means not keeping our water bottles filled at the end of the time, not bringing full-size shampoos, not bringing anything that would be prohibited by an airline. You can also find things like this pretty common, like I mentioned earlier. If you went from train to bus, a bus will allow you much less luggage. There's not really the restrictions that you would have with a plane, but it's still a size consideration with that. So what I'll show at the end of the 7 days, all of my things are fitting into 2 small bags. They'll very easily fit as carry-on under a seat in both cases. So I'm all set regardless of what transportation I might end up taking. The plan right now is to fly home, but perhaps I end up deciding, oh, it seems like there's something else really cool to do along the way. I could go a different way and really be planned ahead for whatever adventure might come. Lastly, you're going to want to pack anything you might want for the plane ride home. So as I mentioned, we're taking the bus out and most of us are probably flying back. If you're someone who likes noise-canceling headphones on the plane, like me, you're going to want to make sure you pack those in your bag so that you don't end up all ready to go home and realize, oh, I planned everything for the trip out to New Orleans, but I didn't think at all about the trip back to New York afterward. So these are all the miscellaneous things that I've thought about bringing along on the trip that might add that little extra, oh, I want to make sure I don't forget about this, or oh, this would be a little extra fun to have along with me. As I mentioned, if there are other things that you'd bring along for the ride, please let me know in chat or comments. On tomorrow's Pack to Hack, we're going to talk about joy. And that, to me, that's one of the most important things to have along on a hackathon. So we're going to talk about how you might bring that and how you might encourage that in others along the trip. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.